They did move her and her sons, then I'm sure I'll pick up some tracks. If not, there won't be anything. But then we're going to head up to the northwest. We're going to go and see if we can find any of those other fun animals. And it's a beautiful afternoon. The grey skies and the rainy weather that we had this morning has cleared up nicely. Patchy cloud, it's almost summery cloud. Unusual to have this kind of cloud in winter. And there's a good chance that it might clear by sunset. I'm hoping not. Making a very bright sky. I might need sunglasses. The future's so bright I might need shade. But I'm hoping that some of this cloud will stay here because it'll paint the sky some beautiful colors tonight around sunset. We're going to see what we can find for you. What should we do? Should we start? What should we do? Should we start with? I don't think we'll bother with this pan. I don't think we'll bother with the wood collector. The pan in the east on the eastern boundary. But someone has been through this river quite a lot, washing away the tracks closer to me. Unless he walked further down. No, he didn't. Yeah. Okay. Miss Becky. I only wonder when he was here, because I don't think I came through this crossing yesterday. He did walk here, but there are vehicle tracks on top of his tracks. I'm just wondering when he was here. It could have been yesterday, maybe. Really hard to tell. Mostly because there are vehicle tracks on top of his tracks. I guess it could have been last night, but I don't know which vehicles could have been driving around in this part of the world this morning. Everybody was up there where the lion and the elephant were. Maybe that's why the baboon were barking this morning. Instead of leopard, they might have seen this lion. However, this morning, our mission was to go and find the lion that had killed the wildebeest yesterday. And so Becky and I left before sunup. It was still dark when we left camp, sometime to 6, before 6. And I wanted to be at the kill site with those lion on their kill as it started getting light, but unfortunately, of course, they'd finished the meat and they'd left. Hello, warthog. Look at these little piglets coming to say hello. Becky, you better hold tight, because if they come any closer, it can get dangerous. They're young piglets. Hey, children. Hello. Oh, what, you don't like me saying hello? Is that it? Okay, that's Mom on the right, moving to the right. We've seen these four on a number of occasions already. It's Mom and probably her first daughter, or a daughter from her first litter, because she's not very old. She's only a couple of years older than her daughter. And then her two new piglets from last year. So she's probably only had 2 litters, judging by the size of her. And her first litter maybe was this other sow with maybe some boars, and they left, leaving this young female to help Mum with the second litter. Hello, Sarah. Travels with Sarah. Hope your cat's calmed down from this morning. Sarah wants to know if we're back on track, going back to the lions. We are, shortly. I first have to just investigate a few places down here in the south. We're going to move up that way shortly. Go and see what we can find. But we haven't really had warthog on camera like this before. They're not very close, and hopefully you can see them. I did mention this morning that hopefully we'd be back to normal this afternoon in terms of broadcast quality. But it's going to take a little bit more time, I'm afraid. Africa time works different to the rest of the world. Things take a little bit longer. Things that are supposed to be couriered overnight take a week. It's this mentality that there's no rush. So even though you pay for an overnight service, they think that they're doing you a favor by delivering it in a week. Okay, it's a bit less than a week. Shorty Loop Junction, Kuala Road. There are birds alarming up ahead. I need to go and find out why they're alarming, and the warthogs have moved off. Just trying to figure out where they are. Sarah will be back on track with the lion shortly. I can't promise they're going to be calling at this time of the day. It's not the air is not right for their calls to travel. I noticed looking through emails there were a lot of people that were asking about how far the lion's call would travel because he was calling so much this morning. What's the distance that he can be heard? And of course, one of the important factors there is the density of the air and coolness of the air. And by this time of the day, call won't travel very far. There's so many diurnal noises that would interfere. So lions generally don't call during the day. We were very, very lucky this morning because we had overcast conditions. There was a lot of moisture in the air, and it just happened that there was a good, well, it was just perfect for a lion to vocalize in daylight and get his calls reverberating over a longer distance. I don't think we're going to hear him calling, so your cats are safe. I'm not going to bother too much with looking for leopards and things here because there are a lot of impala, there are warthog, there are things spread out quite broadly around these fans. And it's highly unlikely that there's a predator around if they're so relaxed. So we'll start making our way northwest. Once again, apologies if we're a little bit late. The whole day was pushed ahead a little bit. Africa time. Definitely not German time. To be punctual in Africa, you can be anywhere between a half hour and a full hour either side of the advertised time. Although people would probably look at you a little bit funny if you were early. There was a Columbia involved just south of Waxhaw Town. Interesting lump of dung. Could be the cat tracks we saw. back again. Can't imagine which cat this would have been. And there's one of those females. There's one of those lionesses came down this way just to investigate the river. Father are a little bit nervous. Were there any stations that Alberta planned this morning? Okay. Not copying, I'll have to get closer to you to copy. Sorry Brad, not copying you at all. That quarry, I'm going to chop it down. So the same thing for us today. Sorry about that. We just have a couple of places down the property where trees hang over the road, and the way the vehicle has to lean on this road, it just leans into that particular bush, and it's the one bush that I don't notice every time. It's guaranteed to snap this thing that we have to secure the mast at the back. All other trees I managed to avoid except this one, and there's another one. I need to friends and ask them to come and feed on certain trees. Open up the crown a little bit so we can get this antenna underneath. This weather is new moon weather. Come new moon and full moon, it's always going to be a little bit of a change. More moisture in the air. Wow. Michelle. Hello, Michelle. Michelle in Toledo, Ohio. I'll tell you, what is it that sticks out in your mind about Toledo? I mean, if I had to say to you, Toledo, Ohio, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
I've never heard of it.
You never heard? Okay, no, you're a different generation, Becky. In a bar in Toledo, across from the depot. Yeah, Ohio, yes. Country and West. There was a famous song by, I don't know, was it Johnny Cash, Michelle? In a bar in Toledo, across from. I'm trying to think of the words. I'll think of them at the most inopportune moment, and I'll just blurt it out. But hello, Michelle. And moving on from my own ramblings about a bar in Toledo, Michelle was asking, is there any further news? Yesterday, of course, we had a little bit of a scare because on the radio, just after I directed Brad to where I had tracked the lions to, and he found them on the wildebeest kill, or the wildebeest kill, no. The adults are called wildebeest. Only one little baby is called a wildebeest. But on the wildebeest kill that they had made yesterday, Brad was saying over the radio that he didn't want other vehicles to come in yet because one of his guests had reported that it appeared that there was a dead leopard there. And hang on. I'll try a different angle. I don't think it's going to help much. No, this one needs the stick. Sorry, it's got to lift the branch off of the antenna. There we go. Thanks, Becky. But that is. Well, it turned out to be nothing because, you know, a lot of times one has to take things with a pinch of salt. People see things that aren't there. That she might have, or the guest might have seen some leaves or something. But after some thorough investigation, it was not the case. There would have been absolutely no reason why a leopard would have been anywhere near there at any rate. But you know, you never know. This is Africa. This could happen. These things. It's not impossible. So once there was a little bit of thorough checking done, it was ascertained that the guest had seen something that wasn't there. But thanks for the concern, Michelle, and I'm happy to report that no leopard lost its life yesterday at the hands of a lion. 4 hungry children and a crop in the field. I've had some bad times, lived through some sad times. This time the hurting won't heal. Give me a hard times coming to feel. You never heard that song? Maybe it's even before your mom's time. More? Who's more watching?
My grandpa.
Grandpa. What's his name?
Eric.
So Eric. Of course, I mean that brings up other memories or that triggers other. Oh, that's right. You picked a fine time to leave me. That's what it is, Lucille. 4 hungry children and a crop in the field. Hello, Donna. Donna re-asking a question from this morning. In fact, there were a number of people asking the same question this morning. I did get to it at one point, but then I guess I must have been boring you because some people fell asleep. We won't mention any names, will we, Donna? But yes, an important question because we were with this male lion. He was calling incessantly. He was calling a lot more frequently than you generally do hear a lion calling. But the general question was, how far does the call travel? How far away do other lions hear it? And, well, it depends. It's a considerable distance. It's a very, very low frequency, very, very loud call. I'm not too sure of the decibel levels, but anywhere from 5 to 8 miles. And of course, it depends on the temperatures and the conditions, wind conditions and things. In the cool nights of winter, the call can probably travel a good 8 to 10 miles. In some cases. Depends on the density of the vegetation, the terrain, the temperatures, the moisture in the air, the temperature of... Well, I said that. Temperature of the air. But a considerable distance. Let's just say that. It travels beyond the boundaries of the average lion's territory, and that is what it is meant to do. That a lion will call, and this is not why he was calling, but generally speaking, when a lion is roaring at regular intervals of roughly 15-20 minutes, it's as good as physically marking his territory. What he is doing is he's vocalizing his territory as he moves through his territory, marking his territory, and his call is meant to cover his territory. And of course, well, his territory could cover maybe 5 to 8 miles, maybe even up to 10 miles. So it is imperative that his voice carries that far, so that other lions, no matter where they are in their territory, are likely to hear him. And of course, there is an inordinate amount of information that is broadcast through that call. I'm going to pause there because I know at this junction and for a little bit we can have a bit of a patchy bit of a signal, so bear with me while we go through this area. It goes right through the middle. And lovely having a big junction like this so we can look around for both tracks or animals. Nothing yet. So Moira's there. Hello, Moira. Moira and RC and Jay and Beverly and couple of people mentioning horse, Kenny Rogers. Moira's not too young to remember the song or to have missed the song. Hi Moira, welcome to our drive. Who would have thunk, huh? Okay, Eric, I hope you're going to get well soon. From Becky and me and all of us. I also want to know if Cindy's watching. I want to know if Cindy Crawler's here. Another get well. But Cindy, I heard you were with us on our last day and I needed to mention that. I need to find a sensitive area for Cindy. They're not in flower at the moment, unfortunately. Is not what? I said Moira. Hello Moira. No, that's why I said Moira might be too young to know that song. I think Moira took that wrong way, but of course it wouldn't be someone like Willie Nelson, would it? I thought maybe Johnny Cash was... I found a Johnny Cash CD in the trash bin the other day. Wonder where it came from. The part of that story is that I left it there. It wasn't all that bad, Johnny Cash. I might wear a hat, but I'm not too fond of... No, I like country and western. Some of the music I listen to is pretty close to country, and I do like some of the country. I love the culture of country. I guess it's somewhere in my blood. Riding horses, being in the outdoors, sitting around a fire, and there's a fair amount of country culture that I guess I've lived in a previous life. But some classic rock or the southern rock, there's a bit of southern rock and what did I hear from like Leonard Skinner's Little Feat can be misconstrued as country sometimes. Thank you. That's interesting. Maureen is telling me, I think, was that Edmonton? Is that Alberta in Canada? Edmonton? Maureen telling me Lion's Roar is roughly about 115 decibels. Okay, we're only crossing in about 20 decibels right now. And we can the whole world. If a Lion's Roar is 100 decibels, it can reach another planet. Not really. Question to you. Yeah, I think it's right. But if you can get my question. What are the dBs of jet engine for what are the decibel level of how many decibels for let's say like a big 5-liter V8 Chevy engine or something, 4.1 Chevy, no, 5.0. No, let's not go Motown or Mopar. Let's go jet engine, like a 747 decibel levels when it's starting up. Ellen, New Jersey. Ellen was with us this morning when we were listening to that lion roar, and Ellen wants to know if I get goosebumps. Well, it's goosebump inducing, that sound. Yes, Ellen, every single time. After hearing it for 50 years, I still get the same feeling every time I hear it. I don't know, maybe you didn't really notice my excitement this morning. Maybe I was a little bit subdued, or maybe it didn't come across. I thought I was quite excited, but yes, every time. It's like seeing it, like hearing it and being with it for the first time every time it happens. Now I know a lot of you know how moggy I am over elephants, and I can be just as moggy over the cats because I love cats. Cats just intrigue me, and they're just such wonderful creatures. You know, the wonderful thing about cats is that they're all, it doesn't matter how big or small they are, they're still cats. So for domestic cats have the qualities of all of the big cats. There's a little bit of cheetah and a little bit of lion and a little bit of leopard in every domestic cat. In so many things that they do, the movement of the tail and the positioning of the ears and the moods, and they're just okay. So domestic cats can't exactly roar, but you can always have a tape recording in the background. But there's something about cats that just make them so intriguing, and so much so that I find in the rest of the animal kingdom, I find all sorts of animals that I liken to cats. In fact, the praying mantis is the cat of the insect world, and the owls are the cats of the bird world. And there's certain lizards that are cats of the reptile world, and just the way that they move and the way that they do things. But to have that with the big cats, to have a big male lion roaring like that, and then every now and then he turned his head and he looked up, and he was sitting just over there, and he turned his head and he looked, I don't know, straight into the camera, or straight at Becky, or straight at me, and those big yellow eyes that just look straight at you, and the heart sort of takes a little bit of a skip when you wonder, what am I now at dinner? Of course, we're not going to be dinner because he was so full and bloated from wildebeest, and we don't look like a wildebeest or a zebra we just don't. We're not part of their prey range. But of course, you can't take that for granted. You can't assume that they won't see us as a quick and easy meals on wheels. And all I've got to protect myself is Becky. And all Becky's got to protect herself is me. And of course I'd throw myself at a lion in an instant.
I can film it.
Yeah, you can film it. Yeah. Oh, it wouldn't be the first time. Except it wasn't a lion the last time. Threw myself at an elephant to save people, and they still took photographs while I was battling, while I was fighting with a Langwan Dam. Coming down here to see what there is. We want to make our way a little bit further west try and catch up with cats and things. Cats and elephants. And maybe the crocodilius is here. Cool. We've had yellow-billed hornbills, and now we've got a red-billed hornbill. We've seen some yellow-billed hornbills. There's a red-billed hornbill in front of us. There's been a herd of buffalo here that have moved through, and they've left their dung. And one of the things that hornbills like to do is sift through dung, because there are a lot of things in there for them. Either termites or for elephant dung there could be fruits and things, but mostly it's termites and insects, and maybe insect larvae around the buffalo dung. Is that the crocodile sunning itself over there? Gee, she's big. We'll go around that side of the dam now quickly. Kabir in India, a really nice question that you've asked. I'm going to get to it in a minute. Light isn't that great. There are also a bunch of starlings here, but they've moved on. Yep, that's Mrs. Crocodile sunning herself on the bank. Beautiful big crocodile. And she's big enough to take an impala. Go around the other side, we might be able to just get a glimpse of her in the distance. We have seen her a few days ago. We had a beautiful sighting of her. She was just in the water on the edge, just her head showing. Excuse me, yellow-billed hornbill. Red-bill turned into... Hello? Okay, well, no, don't mind me. Cut. Just that sunset in that golden water, we had a view of her head. Now, this time of the day, she's sunning herself, warming up for some hunting tonight. We're not going to see her much. We're not going to see her at all. Unless I do something like... We're hardly going to see her. She's lying on a little bit of a sandbar, but there is a lot of grass. She was quite visible from the dam wall. I can only see one of her back legs now. Can you see her? Yeah. I don't know how close we can get to it. But while I'm stopped and we're just looking at this lovely little dam known as Langwan Dam. Kabir was asking for some more information comparing parks in India to those of here in Africa. And in India, evidently the parks, they have the core zones and the buffer zones and the tourist zones, and I can't quite remember. It was quite an involved question. Andy will have to help me and correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems that Kabir is interested in how it works here in Africa and how it is that we're able to go off-road, because of course in India there's no off-road at all unless I guess you're on the back of an elephant. In the private reserves, Kabira, it's a completely different matter. You're not allowed to go off-road in the national parks. This is not a national park. This is a private nature reserve or private game reserve, and each reserve or each private area have their own rules about whether you can go off-road or not and how you can go off-road. And here the rules are: you can only go off-road for a confirmed sighting of lion, leopard, and cheetah, maybe wild dog. Not every time you see elephant and buffalo. We're not talking about another big animal, but because we're not talking about it. They allow the guys to go off-road for buffalo or elephant if it's the guest's last game drive and they haven't seen those animals. Then they'll allow them to go off-road. But generally they don't allow too much off-road driving here. So the off-road driving here is somewhat limited. In the Sabi Sand Game Reserve it's a little bit different. There, for the Big Five and for cheetah and wild dog as well, you can go off-road at any time. And where I live up in the Timbavati, it's pretty much the same, that you can go off-road as long as you've got a confirmed sighting of the Big Five. Of course, what that means is that when you find tracks that leave the road, you have to go off the road on foot first to find the animal and then come back and fetch the vehicle. And invariably what you do is you leave the guests on the vehicle and you hope that they're going to behave themselves. Tell them a few stories about how dangerous it is for them to get off the vehicle, and then head into the bush on foot, preferably with your tracker and a rifle, and you go and find whatever animal it is that you're tracking. The national parks are completely different. Now, you mentioned the Mara, the Masai Mara, which is up in Kenya, and it's just one example of somewhere that is also completely different, because especially in the Mara Triangle, there are no rules at all. In the Mara Triangle, when I was up there, everybody went off-road. There was supposed to be no off-road driving, but everybody went off-road, and there were just tracks and roads everywhere. In fact, it was quite depressing because, of course, what is happening is that everybody's driving over the very grasses that the animals need to graze, and you've got these little tire tracks everywhere. Serengeti, for example, in the Serengeti, and that's the Mara, which is Kenya, south of the Mara, which is the same ecosystem, down in Tanzania. In the Serengeti, if you get caught off-road in the national park, you get a very stiff fine, and it's the same in any of the national parks. But in the game reserves, when I was in the Selous Game Reserve, because the game reserve is run by a different government body to the national parks, and I was allowed to go off-road in a game reserve, in the Selous Game Reserve. Actually, come to think of it, in Tarangire National Park, I had permission in the southern region of the park because I was the only one that was there. 1,000 square kilometers that I had to myself. I was the only one that was allowed open vehicles. I was allowed walking safaris. I could do overnight walking safaris, and I was allowed to go off-road. So I was allowed to drive the vehicle way off-road and leave it and go for walks, or to have the vehicle come and fetch me in a wilderness area after I'd done a couple of days walking. So once again, sorry to use the word, it depends on really where you are, because every area is different. Different areas have different rules, and so you can't assume that where there are rules in one area, those rules apply in any other area. We don't have buffer zones and the different zones within the parks where there are in most of the parks. Once again, it depends on which region we're talking about, because there are some areas that are given specifically for photographic safaris, and the photographic safaris have to stay within those given areas. We're not seeing very much of this crocodile, are we? There's the back leg and a little bit of the tail. I don't know what the rules are about going off-road here for a crocodile. If you don't tell, I won't. No, I can't break the rules. I'd love to get a better look at her. Maybe get off-road around the dam over there, but fortunately that's not going to happen. One of these days we'll find her sunbathing closer, I'm sure. bigger than I thought, I have to be honest. Having only seen her head before. Kabir, I hope I helped you with that answer. Please feel free to email again if you want clarification on something, but I like to be thorough when I do answer something. And I think one of the reasons why I use the word it depends, why I say it depends on so many things, is because I could easily give you an answer for Thornybush. I can give you on a lot of the things, a lot of the questions that I'm asked, I could give you an answer about Thornybush, but I don't want to leave you and everybody else. I don't want to leave you with the impression that what happens here at Thornybush is what happens everywhere else. And as a result of that, when I'm asked certain questions, I will say it depends, because there are so many different scenarios, there's so many different answers that I can give, depending on where or what we're talking about, and different influencing factors. Nothing in nature is just so cut and dried that I can give you a straight answer to a lot of things. Some things you can, some things. How long is a lion's gestation period? Well, yeah, okay, there's no depends there. Gestation period is a gestation period. Or I don't know. There's some questions that are cut and dried, straight answers. But anything with regards to behavior and policies, it depends on what the question is. Porcupine dump. Cheshire North. Someone wants Long One Road, me on Long One. Okay, copy. No, unfortunately with the cameras I have to avoid them. But thanks. Is that Jonathan? Turn the radio just at the right time. See, I can't really be driving around without the radio on, but it's difficult to have it in my ear while I'm listening to the other radio I'm talking to, so I turn it down sometimes, and then I can get into trouble. Only from a point of view of stumbling across a sighting that has strict rules and how Okay, so the elephant have gone a little bit too far north. Oh shit. How's it?
Yeah.
Oh. Carlos, Gary.
I'm dead.
Hi everybody. Well, only two of you, but hi. Would be nice, but Gareth, they're about to hit Long One Road right now. So a lot of action happening up north. Buffalo, elephant, I think some of the lion. I want to go back to the area where with that one male lion. Maybe he's still around, I'm not sure. I'm just going to check. Is there any news on that one Ngala that was at Waxville Pan this morning? I wonder if there's any update on that Madonna Ngala that was at Waxville Pan this morning. Okay, copy, thank you. Very noisy radio today. And that all depends on whether the amount of guests in the lodges and how many vehicles are out. And quite often, with new guests, the guys want to impress or they want to get to see some things. Certainly a lot more vehicles out than this morning. A little bit of the cloud has dissipated, but I think there's still going to be a good sunset. It'd be nice to be on this western ridge so we can try and get a view. Susan was asking for a Drakensberg sunset yesterday, and I have to find a little gap in the trees to do that. But let's see what we can go and find. Have some time before that's going to happen. Go up this cut line. From there we go up this cut line. We'll get an unlock signal there, so I want to avoid that. We just come down past Waxville Pan and we can do some loops around Waxville Pan. Kabir, are you involved in wildlife in India, if you're still watching? If you'd like to respond to that. Because not only can you ask me questions, but I can ask you questions too, and I hope I get a response. The same as you hope that you get a response too. But it's interesting meeting people from all over the world, and especially someone from India, because there is an incredible array of wildlife, or diversity of wildlife in parts of India, and to some degree some of the similarities with parts of Africa. I mean, we don't have tigers. A misconception throughout the world. A lot of people come to Africa and want to see tigers, and well, we have to say to them, sorry, but there aren't any tigers in Africa. People who've spent 50, 60 years believing that there are tigers in Africa. But the tigers in India come in from Asia, and the lion and leopard that are still there have got nothing to do with the fact that India was part of Africa, because that was so far ago. What it is that I'd say that the remnants of the populations lived right throughout the Middle East and Europe before, I suppose, it was the Romans who killed everything for their circuses and their arenas. When they would have hundreds of animals at a festive period and slaughter each other in the middle of an arena for the enjoyment of the elite. The thing led to bad boy. Behind some clouds, but it's, I mean, Becky's still sitting in shit, full sleep. There's something for you, Becky. There was a Brighton beach or something. One day they had 25 degrees Celsius and people were getting sunstroke. Oh, Kudu, please don't run away. You've got such lovely big ears that I want to show everybody. Hello, Mrs. Kudu and baby Kudu. Second largest of the antelope here. Baby's gonna come out. Swallowing mom. Can I come in? Okay, once again you almost unreadable. Sorry if you've been trying to get hold of me. As I said, it's improving because now I can hear things on the ground. Okay, yeah, there's a little bit of a dip and then I'll get back up onto good high ground. Fortunately, Andy can always hear me well. As the dry season wears off, losing their leaves, we will be getting into better signal areas, or rather this will become stronger places. Darling, stop. Oh, darling. About 3 out of 5. I didn't know that it could ever get that far. That 8 guys would wait up on a lineup to go and view something. I thought they'd drive around and find another one. So 8 vehicles on a lineup to view those lion up north. When any one of them could come down here and help me look for one of these lions, this lion. That means minimum of 80 minutes if each person is going to be there for 10 minutes. 80 minutes. Be into dark people. I'm going to go across the dam wall. Have a look. Maybe around the old kill site where they made that wildebeest kill. Very much doubt where he's gone back to, unless it felt like chewing on some bones and getting some marrow. Maybe he's come down to the dam. There have been buffalo here today. That might have influenced whether this lion sticks around or not. I think he's possibly a little inexperienced and maybe a bit young to take a buffalo on his own. Also, I'd say he's probably a little bit too full, although he's no doubt digested a lot of that wildebeest that he was eating last night. He was looking very bloated this morning. Go down this way a little bit, and then we'll come back and then go down. This is Shipene Road, that's Shipoko Road. Shipene means Thornybush, and Shipoko, as I've said earlier, means spook or ghost. There's actually a female leopard. Her name is Shipoko because they used to find her tracks. She was very shy. Find her tracks a lot and they could never find her. So a lot of the trackers called her the ghost because no matter how good a tracker you are, sometimes you just don't find the animal, because if an animal doesn't want to be found, it's not going to be found. And it could duck its head down in the grass 3 feet off of the road and we wouldn't see it. What we could do actually is just stop by. That'll be hyena here. We could stop by that carcass of that wildebeest to have a look and see how much more of it has been fed on. Most of the carcass was still articulated. There were a few legs that had been detached, but the entire spine was still articulated, still joined to the head. There were still ribs joined to the spine, but most of the carcass, well, most everything had been eaten. There were still bits of flesh and tendon and a few hooded vultures hanging around. But there's been buffalo that walked here today after we were here. Thank you, Jay and Beverly Butterfly. What did the man say when he lost the wheel on his car? You picked a fine time to leave me, loose wheel. Funny. Corny. Funny. Good one. Thank you, Jay, Beverly. I guess you could make a whole song about that. And the wheels fell off in a crash landed. Let's take a quick look. Just because we want to see how it has changed, perhaps, over the last few hours. Look at the size of that zebra wood. That's a dead zebra wood. That beautiful tree. Look at this dead tree, Dalbergia melanoxylon. That is. Hopefully nobody's ever going to find it, cut it down and burn it or carve it. Ebony. Find a lot of ebony carvings made out of that wood. And that's all the inner heartwood that remains. All the soft outer wood, yellow outer wood, has been eroded, disappeared. So all that is that lovely deep black heartwood of the ebony. Well, it's not real ebony. I think it was here. What? Let me think. There goes a vulture. We have to go around these trees. So there are still vultures here. Large vulture. There's also a hooded vulture, which is one of the smallest of the vultures. But the fact that there are vultures down on the ground is telling me that there are no cats here. Oh, look, there's a drongo hopping on the vultures. Two hooded vultures. I don't know where the other bigger one went to. Lion dung. We don't want to drive over the lion dung. Oh my word, look at that. Now, I don't know, for those of you who might have been with us this morning, and it was a little bit dark, but you really couldn't see very much white on these bones. There was still a fair amount of flesh. What is very unusual for lion is that they've left this carcass the way that it is, because ordinarily they would eat through those ribs, they would eat a lot of the soft bone, they'd eat those dorsal spines amongst above the thoracic, no, the lumbar vertebra, where the nuchal muscle is. Then comes the thoracic, and then the pelvic, and then the caudal. But these vultures have picked these bones clean. And the way that they do that is with their tongues, believe it or not. They have an incredibly abrasive tongue, especially the little hooded vultures. Not that much of an astounding thing, but that's essentially what these hooded vultures do. It was quite a wildy shame. Yesterday morning he was probably still running around. Not exactly wildebeest habitat, this a relatively thick bush where we are here for a wildebeest to be in, and what makes it so dangerous for a wildebeest is this exact thing, is that wildebeest need open areas. It's the very thing that is causing the decline of wildebeest throughout the Kruger area, is that they don't have the open plains that they need for their habitat to be able to avoid predators. And that to find some of the short grass grazing areas and open areas, it has to take them through, almost like they have to run a gauntlet. It has to take them through these thicker bush areas. These cats might not have even had much of a, and they might not have needed to make much of an effort. There's his tail. Now a bunch of sangomas that would do anything for that tail. Maybe that's his mane. And I think it might be the skin with his mane on. No, that's not his tail. In my younger years, when I was in my 20s, a long time ago, there were times when we'd chase lion off of a kill to get the wildebeest's tail so that we could earn brownie points with local sangomas. Sangomas are not correct to call them witch doctors. They shamans. Spiritualists. Wildebeest tail for them is a very important aspect to their ceremonies, or very important tool in their ceremonies. Okay, now what I want to do is go back across Waxpool Dam and go down the other road, Spoko. We leave Shpene. Make our way down Spoko and then see if we can find this little boy. I wonder that. It doesn't even feature on my map, that road. No doubt links up with Spoko. Let's take it anyway. Shanana Road. I think hardly a road, but it's close enough to resemble a road. Mark, you're so clever, you know, sometimes you just surprise yourself. Hello, Ngala. He's calling again. He's about to call again. Sorry Andy, please repeat that. Just in case you missed it this morning, we have a replay this afternoon, courtesy of Thornybush Private Nature Reserve. No, Andy. Thanks, Sarah. How do I do it? Don't know. Well, stations 1 Mandodong Gala, just off of Shipene, northeast of the kill site, south of Waxfield Dam, colouring. Yeah, firm. There's an old pan, I don't know if this is 3-banded pan, there's an old pan on a little loop with a very badly eroded section where he is. And sadly I'm not copying you very well. Jessica is going to drink. Now it would seem that a lion drinks for very, very long and that they take in a lot of water, but like any cat, what he's doing is he's actually lapping backwards
and there isn't really that much water going in, so they do tend to drink for quite some time. So that's belly full of wildebeest, still digesting. It can take him another couple of days, but yeah, very well fed cat. Sarah in New York was asking, how do I do it? I don't know, Sarah. It's my passion, my life. So sometimes I love it when a plan comes together, and sometimes they don't. And I guess the last couple of days have just been lucky that things have worked out well for us. Process of elimination, I didn't find any really fresh tracks, and had hoped that we would bump into him. And then Vivian in Chicago. So Vivian, I'm wondering, is it Vivienne? My mother's name is Vivian. I think you know that already. I might have told you that before. And Vivian was asking, I'll think of it. It'll come to me in a minute. The question was, the radio's fine. Here he goes again. Again? My own little snap video. Hello James. Yes, he didn't look too pleased to see us. It was almost as if he was saying, "Oh, you guys again." I'm going to lie down right there behind the tree. Andy, please, no, stand by one. I think Vivian was asking about the stomach contents. That's right. What animal would uncover the stomach contents? Well, there's a number of birds that would dig through it. Possibly something like scrub hares might eat the grass. Did you have the stomach contents on camera?
No.
Well, the stomach contents were actually on the other side. The carcass was on the left, the stomach contents on the right. Nothing had touched the stomach contents, but the lion had eaten the stomach lining because they do that. And he's lying down again.
Still calling, trying to get an answer out of the rest of the herd. He's going to sit here for a while. Not the greatest visual because of where he is. I obviously can't drive through this eroded section. I don't want to exacerbate the eroded section. I possibly could drive down into this little pan. Let me just go back to which station coming to this Madodangala Waxpo pan? Reading about 1 out of 5 at the moment. I can more or less make it out. What's your lock? Okay, copied. I don't know if you know this little pan, there's a badly eroded section just south of Waxpool. Okay, copy. He's even going to try and call lying down, sleeping like that. Out of laziness. Actually, I was the one that said you can't call them lazy because it's anthropomorphic. Because you can't. Lions sleep as much as they do, not because they're lazy, but because they have to conserve so much energy. Because all their life revolves around spending so much energy to get food and then having to use that energy from their food to do all of their other activities, but as well as that, to conserve for the next hunt. Here he goes again. I love this.
I think I want that for my ring. He's getting tired of calling and not getting an answer. Black cat. Boom. And so much for this lovely sunset I was hoping for. The sun is going down as we sit here behind the ridge. There's a little bit of colour coming to the cloud, but nothing spectacular. Nothing as spectacular as a male lion roaring, but I think it will suffice that we have this big male lion and he's roaring and the sun's going down, and well, that wonderful time of the day when the end of such a wonderful, wonderful day. So exciting. Andy had my volume down again. I'm going to repeat what you might have done in the last couple of minutes. Hi Heather. Hello Heather. Hopefully Brian. Though Brian might be at work in the UK. Heather was asking, is this the first drink for this line? I very much doubt it, Heather. I'm pretty sure he's been drinking quite a bit. There's no way of knowing how much or whether this is his first drink. But I would imagine that with this little pan here and Waxful pan just further up, I'm sure he's been drinking quite a bit already. Even maybe during the night. There are tracks on this road that when I was looking this morning, tracks going up and down to the pan.
I'm done. Mark, you go. Okay, I'm here. Switch off, you'll hear him.
Yeah, firm is a bad, so excited with the pan. I think it might be 3-banded pan, maybe not. But it's just a little bit north of where that bumper was. Okay, copy. Heather. Oh no, that's Heather asked that. I answered that one. What was the next one? And nothing like a lion to interrupt my thoughts and the radio call. Don't know. Sorry, slipped my mind. And you have to repeat it again. Completely slipped my mind. Hi dear. Dear wanted to know if the females roar back to answer the males. Yes, they do. And sometimes it can be very, very subtle, the difference between the male lion roaring and the lioness roaring. But they are somewhat distinct. The male tends to go on with his post-roar. That sort of sound goes on for a lot longer than the females. So yes, they would. And one of the reasons why he's calling is because he's waiting for the answer. He's hoping that he's going to get an answer. And I think that has something to do with the question that I forgot about just prior to this question from Dear. Maybe Andy, if you can get one question back and let me get that. Good, and you? Hey Lucas. Fine. Good afternoon all.
Is it Marvin or the young one?
No, it's that youngster. The lip.
Yeah, you got more.
That other time on the fence line, a couple of weeks ago.
With that Marty, that Thornybush.
Yeah. But is he the brother of the two females with the cubs? He hasn't got a name.
I kind of call him Alvin. It's pretty calling, especially like the beginning was that low contact calling. Because the other females have all left him, but remember this morning we saw that big male coming, and then the females chased him away. Yeah, if he catches this youngster, we're going to have a bit of a boxing match. That guy's territory is all the way to the top of it.
We're going to start heading.
Get dark soon. Okay. Were you? I know I heard something, but not much. But there's, yeah, under the fence, and the other male probably gone into TSL. There's also a garlic Kwanzaa coming across from River Lodge, crossing that river. Mafazi.
I think it's Thomas Jr. There's Mafazi that's come across, and this is now both short there in the street. And I told Tom, he said, no, it must have been when they came back to take it.
No, that's because I do that crossing all the time, and that's relatively fresh. Somebody's been through there and washed water onto it somehow, and I wasn't there yesterday because I was up here yesterday, but
you know where I went, back the other day? I was just east of that crossing I went to.
Today?
Yeah, this morning.
That's where that track was?
Yeah, the track came from the cut from the eastern cut line.
Yeah. So then it's your tracks. It was when you went through, you washed water into its tracks, but it wasn't there yesterday. That track wasn't there yesterday, and that cat then came up. Was it Dombaya, I think?
I don't know.
And I don't know who that cat is because there's none of this lot. Because they've all been here with the wildebeest.
Yeah. And now they all went back to the
Anyway. Bye-bye, everybody. Enjoy this wonderful spectacle. Lion roaring in daylight. Special. Cheers, babe. Bye, Lucas.
Bye, Beck.
Okay, so I know that I've had a couple of questions in my ear and I didn't get to them, and so Let me just do my radio duty. And our station's leaving locker 1, my daughter and Gala south of Waxville, Pan, Brad on lock, nobody on standby. And then I need to do my other radio duty because I didn't really get those last couple of questions. To recall, James might have asked something, but I think a couple of questions that I didn't answer because I was distracted, as I'm usually distracted. Always distracted. Distracted so easily. Okay, how old is this wonderful lion? Laurie! Hello Laurie. Glad to have you with us. How old is this wonderful boy? And what pride does he belong to? Laurie, look, his tracks are big enough to be a big adult male. I think he's about 4 years old or so. He belongs to a pride, this pride that occupies the southern region of Thornybush, and they're known as the Black Dam Pride, because a long time ago, a lioness arrived there, and she was all on her own, and she was a very big lioness. There was no male, and she was first found at a place called Black Dam. And I haven't been to Black Dam, so I don't know why it's called Black Dam. I'm assuming that there might be basalt or rock, or maybe it's the clay that makes it black. I don't know. Anyways, her name was Black Dam Female, and she had 3 cubs. And this is one of them. There were 2 females and a male. This is the young male that belongs to the Black Dam female. One of his sisters has got 2 new cubs, 2 very new cubs. And I think it's his other sister, or no, I think Mom has got 2 other cubs from a different litter. And we're going to learn a lot more about them as we get to see them. It's taking us a little bit of time, but I did ask for patience, and I did tell you that every day we get a little bit closer, we follow their tracks, and we get closer and closer, and finally we managed to catch up with them. Although they moved back north, we got so close yesterday. We were here and they were eating just off of this road, and we were here, and I was so close, but no cigar. But we did luckily find him, and we've had a wonderful day with him, and very, very soon, I have no doubt, we'll get to see the females and the youngsters. I think there was a question why they're not answering him, and that's also was a good question. I'm not too sure who that was from, and I'm sure Andy will whisper in my ear who that was. But if I remember correctly, there was a question as to why he's roaring so much and why the females aren't answering him. And of course this is speculation, because the whys and wherefores and things only they really know, but we can deduce, we can make observations, and we can deduce what we think is the whole deal. And there is another male that is up there that is being chased by the females, but there's another male that is possibly courting the females or trying to edge his way in, and he's a big male that has come in from the Timbavati, and I suspect that he's responsible for the big gash out of this male's lip. And if this male was to join up with all those females, that other big male could even kill him. He's a little bit old for an incoming male to kill, but most certainly will be chased off and chased out of the territory by that bigger male. And I'm guessing one of the reasons why the females are not answering him is because there is that other big male up there, and they don't want to answer him and let him know that he can come up there, and then he gets there and then he gets nailed by that other big male. So I think to some extent they'd rather he stays down here and safe, and as soon as I think they know that he's going to be fine, they'll call him and hook up with him again. my neck. My beetle scarf. Special edition. Insects and beetles. Remarkable creature. Something's wrong. There we go. Okay. Okay. Alright, we can actually get in.